What's going on, America? This is Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. And y'all, something happened today that made Jim Comey mad. The case against Michael Flynn was dropped by the DOJ. First of all, bravo to the DOJ. Bravo to Attorney Barr for doing the right thing. But see, James Comey, he didn't like that because, see, what had happened was it all went down under James Comey and his watch. Not only James Comey, but also we're going to talk about how Barack Obama knew about this stuff too. I mean, did you think he didn't? And we'll be talking about that in a second. But first, let me go ahead and read a little bit about James Comey's feelings. See, we want to know what his feelings are. He said, the DOJ has lost its way. Is this poetry? Is he out there somewhere amongst the trees, probably as tall as most of them? Probably could put his elbow on top of one of them and relax and lean against it. But he says, the DOJ has lost its way. But career people, please stay. Because America needs you. The country is hungry for honest, competent leadership. Yes, we are. That is why we're so glad that they dropped this case. And you know, I will really feel a lot better when they arrest this big, tall bag of nothing. That's what I would be very happy for when I see that. So Michael Flynn has finally got some justification. Now, here's the crazy part about this. The man has blew through all of his savings. His reputation has been tarnished. It is very clear that the FBI, some of them, tried to set him up. And now he's cleared, but there's people out there that got a problem with this. Now, I understand why James Comey has a motive to say the DOJ's lost its way. Because, see, he was the man on top of this. He was the man that allowed them to go over to the White House and conduct this interview in an attempt to entrap Michael Flynn. So, of course, he's going there. They're wrong. I don't know what they're talking about. This is a preemptive strike by James Comey to save his own butt, along with several other people's butts that all should go down. But the biggest butt that needs to be saved is President Barack Obama. See, because some new information also came out that shows that he knew about Michael Flynn, the phone call, and all of that stuff. And remember, they said throughout the whole thing that we got to make sure POTUS is in the loop. So we're left with two choices when it comes down to President Obama and his involvement in this. Either he was very corrupt and was a part of all this, or he was very, very incompetent. So either he was corrupt or incompetent. Make that choice. Because you can't tell me that his whole department went completely off the rails without him knowing. And I've heard of plausible deniability, or however, I don't know which one comes before this. Plausible deniability. Anyway, you know what I mean. All right, had a Joe Biden moment. You know the thing. Anyway, so I understand that. But to the degree that the FBI, the DOJ, the CIA, the NSA, all of them just got together, decided to go after a high-level, cabinet member, Michael Flynn, and Trump and all of them. And you telling me they did this all under Barack's nose and he had nothing to do with it, didn't know nothing about it? First of all, what makes me know that's garbage is because as this all comes out, if he said, wait a minute, hold up, they did what? Under my watch? Oh, heck no. He should be in front of this right now saying, I had nothing to do with this. I don't know what these people was doing. And I'm upset. I'm offended that they would do this under my leadership. They went straight rogue. But he's not. He's quiet. Wonder why? Why ain't he out there right now being upset? Because if you knew your employees went off the rails and did all this, you would be the first person in the street pointing the finger at them and say, yeah, man, they need to go down. Yeah, because see, what's going to end up happening is when it all goes down and it gets pointed towards Barack, yeah, I got a gut feeling somebody's going to roll over and say, look, man, I'm the low man on the totem pole. I'm going to be the one to take it to the chin. So let me get out in front of this and start pointing the finger upward instead of letting the crap roll downhill on top of me. But the problem with that is we may see some justice when it comes down to a lot of the low levels, even the mid levels and high level guys like Comey and all of them. But I highly doubt, regardless who the president is or the DOJ, if they're going to end up going after Barack, even though they should if he was involved in this. Because, of course, you know what would happen. We got dumb people in our society that, for whatever reason, would overlook right and wrong and say, let's look at black and white. I don't care if Barack Obama was caught on tape going, listen, I absolutely knew what was going on. In fact, I'm the mastermind behind it. I put the whole thing together. Kind of like Tony Montana. I said, who put this thing together? And, yeah, I'm pretty much guilty. Even if he said that, you would still have people out there that are egged on by the media. And of course, all these, Democrats, because they're going to say the only reason they're going after him because he's the first black president. They could never just let him have a legacy. They want to just destroy him because he's black. And then you would have ignorant people who will overlook obvious evidence that he's guilty and focus on he's black. That's the only reason they're saying he's guilty, even though he said he was guilty on tape. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I'm sure he had a reason for being corrupt and crooked. He was probably trying to drain the swamp, even though he is the swamp. See, so, they probably would stop right about Comey, which tall for nothing probably should be quiet right about now because the crap's going to go downhill after a while. Anyway, but it's worse than that, y'all. So I'm about to play a clip here from Tucker Carlson. Now, for 3.5 years, we've been hearing so much about Russia. And it wasn't just coming from the Democrats and the FBI and Robert Mueller. It was coming from MSNBC, CNN, and all of them. And now all this new information that came out, and you would think they would say, wow, we're wrong. Oh, man, that's corrupt. We're the media, and we want to hold people in power accountable for corruption. So now that we see that these were obvious corrupt behaviors by certain officials in the FBI, we're going to go ahead and recognize that and point out their corruption. But instead, they decide to still say, what's wrong with the DOJ and Barr, and why are they letting Michael Flynn go? Forget about all the evidence that just rolled out, pointing that they decided to entrap Michael Flynn. Forget that stuff. We're going to still focus on Michael Flynn pleading guilty, even though he was coerced, forced, strong-armed, and all of that stuff, even though this was a preemptive strike on the FBI to go after him, to entrap him on some garbage. None of that stuff matters to the media because they want to focus on Trump and his new DOJ and Barr. They're all going after their enemies. Now, you see how stupid this sounds? And they wonder why when Trump said the fake news is the enemy of the people. Well, now you see. Now you see. And see, they can't recognize that the FBI was wrong because then they would have to admit that they were wrong because they worked hand in hand with the FBI to go after Michael Flynn and all the rest of them. They called this man a traitor. They called him a treasonous person. They called him corrupt. They said all of these things about this man. And now they have to eat the whole crow. Okay? The whole crow. And they're unwilling to do that. So now what they're going to do? They're going to overlook stuff that normal, real news agencies, if they weren't so biased and working hand in hand with the left, they would say, man, this is the biggest story in history. The worst corruption and scandal in the history of our country when it comes down to politics. But instead, what are they doing? Let's hear it from Tucker.
The latest developments on Michael Flynn. If you've been paying any attention to the news this afternoon, we suspect you have been, there is a passionate debate underway right now among political partisans over the Justice Department's decision to drop the case against General Flynn.
But why?
They're screaming. But there shouldn't be a debate because there actually isn't a debate about why the case was dropped.
Exactly.
We already know. DOJ officials explained it in detail today. Read the filings. It's worth it. They're online.
Okay.
Clearly, almost nobody commenting on the case has read them, and they should.
Now, see, here's the problem with what Tucker just said. He said, read the case. They're online. Just like Hillary's emails from WikiLeaks was online. Just like the Mueller report was online. When you turn the channel to MSNBC, CNN, and some of these other places, they know that their raggedy audience is not going to go and read that. They're just simply going to listen to them and say, we trust that you're telling us the truth because you're a legitimate news station, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah, we are. You think we will lie to you? And Trump's corrupt for telling you things like, we're the fake news. He's just trying to silence the mouth of our corruption. He's trying to silence the mouth of the upstanding, honest news. Okay, that's what he's doing. Let's listen.
The documents are shocking, not to Republicans or Democrats, but to Americans.
Yes, they are.
We've outlined much of what we knew about the Flynn case in previous segments on the show. Yeah. How a corrupt FBI official called Peter Strzok decided to derail Mike Flynn using any means necessary.
That weirdo. Now, if you want to meet a weirdo, go back and watch his testimony. Y'all remember this one? I don't know what that was. Yeah, it was that demon showing up in his face. He went into some type of... He reminded me of Bugs Bunny when he plays the girl bunny. My stars. Yeah, that's what he looked like when he did that. Right there, and I was like, stop, freeze frame, go back. You see him? You see him? He almost shape-shifted right there. I don't know what was going on with Pete. Let's listen to him.
At one point, Strzok considered charging Flynn under something called the Logan Act.
What's that?
The Logan Act is a 220-year-old law that in the entire span of American history has never been used to convict a single person. In fact, no one's even been indicted under the Logan Act since before the Civil War.
So you mean to tell me they rolled in on Sally Yates and said, now remember, this is Obama. He kind of mentioned it because Sally Yates, according to the new document, she was going, what? Go where? Huh? Now, she'd be a great person to start talking to about, look, you might want to blow the whistle, okay? Hit her with a little bit of too short, blow the whistle, blow the whistle. She might want to blow the whistle because for some reason, Obama talked to her about Flynn and all of this and the Logan Act, and she's like, what the, oh, okay, I guess. I mean, you know what I'm saying? A law, I guess, or an act that's on the books that nobody has ever been penalized for, but yet for some reason, we're going after Flynn. Let's continue.
Constitutionally, you probably couldn't do it now if you wanted. But Strzok didn't care. No, his goal was to keep the investigation going, whether he had a legal justification for doing that or not. By January 4th of 2017, the FBI had already completed its investigation of Flynn, which was thorough. After 4 months of looking into Flynn, they found, quote, no derogatory information of any kind linking Flynn to Russia.
What? So you mean to tell me the FBI came to their superiors, even though they went and snooped around in Michael's business and found that he ain't do nothing? They said, man, we ain't got no reason to go after him. But that wasn't good enough? You mean tell me they said, well, forget the fact that you don't have any evidence. How about we create some evidence? But yet the media is saying Michael Flynn is the one that's guilty here and should be looked at. Let's continue.
Now, fair investigation, the kind that we have a right to expect as Americans, would have ended right there. And according to the DOJ today, it should have ended right there. Quote, the department does not believe there was a legitimate basis to investigate and prosecute the designated national security advisor for communicating with a foreign ambassador and seeking to mollify geopolitical tensions in advance of the inauguration of the next president.
Gotcha. That's good.
And that's the essence of it right there.
Should have been dropped.
Michael Flynn did not commit a crime.
Not at all.
And they knew it. Yep. How did they know? Because the FBI had already tapped Michael Flynn's phone, which itself is a shocking outrage, completely unacceptable in a...
So you telling me a high-level person who was once, you know, a general, and I think he was even, you know, something over the Department of, you know, Intelligence and all that stuff, and they're tapping his phone? Are you kidding me? I mean, what justification did they have to do that? Let's continue.
Free country that for some reason nobody in Washington seems to notice or care about. They should.
They don't care.
Because the FBI already knew what Flynn had said in the call in detail, there was, the department announced today, quote, no justification or need to review Mr. Flynn as to his own personal recollections of what had been said.
That's right.
Because they knew.
They knew.
In other words, the whole thing was a setup from the first moment.
No way. No way.
Now, we know this for certain. We're not speculating because we have Peter Strzok's text messages to his creepy government lawyer girlfriend, Lisa Page.
She is creepy.
But what if we didn't have those text messages? We almost didn't. At first, you'll recall, the FBI claimed they'd been lost due to some technical glitch. So we almost didn't find out what really happened.
Now, how lucky is that? Can you imagine if they was coming after Kevin from Kevin's Corner and they had all this evidence on me? Man, I have to be the luckiest guy in the world for them to just accidentally lose it. All of that stuff just gets deleted somehow off the server. I'd be like, wow, so they're going to throw my case out. They just lost all that evidence. Yeah, funny how they They don't lose evidence when they really going after somebody, but people they don't want to go after, people who they don't want to implement something, mysteriously glitches happen. It's kind of like how that all these tech companies, only conservative pages get shut down or get removed, and it's always an accident. It was a mistake, and somebody it was a glitch in the system that only happens to conservatives, never happened to the liberals. But anyway, let's continue.
In this case, Michael Flynn almost went to prison.
Yeah.
And that gets to the nub of all of this, the most important question of all.
Yeah.
How often does the FBI set people up?
Good question.
How many other lives have they destroyed without the public knowing about it? In other words, this isn't about Michael Flynn.
No.
It's about you.
Now, Tucker brings out one of the most important things in the world. See, and the reason this is important is because, number one, the common man is always talking about how there's too much power given to the government, how they can do whatever they want to you, how they can set you up, and you can't do nothing about it. If they can go after Trump, Michael Flynn, do you think I stand a chance? Now, first things first, the only thing saving this from blowing up in their face is that the media and the Democrats for 3 years now have been pushing all types of narratives to undermine the truth when it comes down to the FBI and their behavior. Secondly, they're blinding a lot of people who would normally see this as corruption with accusations of Trump and his corruption and his racism and all of that stuff, which blows my mind because you would think minorities that have felt the brunt of injustice down throughout the years when it comes to the Justice Department, police, and all of that stuff, you would think they'd be the first to recognize this and go, man, it's some bull crap. But I guarantee you, if I laid this case out to those I hate Trump because I think he's a racist, corrupt politician person who've committed to the narrative, I guarantee you, if I went down the list showing them all the evidence, they would say, nah, man, Trump he just told Barr, man, yo, I want you to go after all my enemies, man, because, you know, Flynn was corrupt. He shouldn't even been on the phone with Kisley Lack and all of that stuff. They would not believe it, you know, and it's unfortunate because this keeps these type of people in power. God forbid that Joe Biden wins and all of this would go away. Barr better work quick, you know, because this stuff needs to come out. We cannot allow our history to go down and keep this stuff buried. We wouldn't even trust the government moving forward. At least common sense people wouldn't. But you still have those idiots be like, that was a close one because Trump and his corruption was about to go after innocent people like James Comey and Peter Strzok and all of them. They didn't do nothing. Anyway, let's continue.
It's scary to think about that.
It is.
Most people in Washington seem determined not to think about it. They're intent on excusing all of this.
Like who?
Ilhan Omar was among the first to chime in on the news today. White privilege at work, she tweeted. Omar didn't explain what in the world Mike Flynn's case might have to do with his skin color, which she cannot control.
They never do.
But she denounced the decision as racist anyway. Surprised?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be surprised.
Not at all. Not at all. Because, see, Democrats, like I said, easiest job in the world is a Democrat politician. Because you never have to support anything with facts. Nothing. All you have to do is tickle people's emotions. They might as well be just, you know, motivation speakers or something like that. You know what I mean? All I'm here to do is make you feel good by telling you that you're not really the blame. It's somebody else. You're the victim, actually. Never, ever point the thumb. Always point the finger. Always. There's always some shadowy, dark entity out there trying to get you. And, you know, you're lucky that we're here on your side, fighting on your behalf. The little man, the common man, for justice. Yes, but what about the obvious documents that came out pointing that the FBI tried to entrap this man? Hey. Only reason Flynn's getting off is because of racism, white privilege. But you never addressed the notes that they said, like you want us to get him fired or you want us to get, none of that matters. No. See, because see, what you're looking at is facts and evidence. And what I'm looking at is racism. Are we on one accord? Okay, then. No more questions. Let's continue.
Ilhan Omar is the person who clearly married her own brother in an immigration scam, who passionately hates the country that saved her, who reduces every conceivable issue to the most vicious kind of race baiting. Can a single human being actually be as loathsome as Ilhan Omar is? It's hard to believe.
Yeah, it is.
She's like a parody of repulsiveness.
Yeah. Sometimes
you doubt she really exists. The RNC must have created her. We can't confirm that, of course. We can say with confidence the RNC did not create cable news.
Zing!
The dummies there were almost as angry as Ilhan Omar was.
They are dumb. Let's listen.
Watch Jeb Bush's former flack take a break from sucking up to professional Harvey Weinstein enablers like Noah Oppenheim to lecture the rest of us about smear campaigns.
Smear campaigns?
Mike Flynn's lawyers have been engaged in a smear campaign, very, very similar, torn out of the same playbook as the smear campaign Donald Trump ran against many of the same FBI leaders.
The idea that the Justice Department could do this, you called it stunning. It's past stunning.
You hearing this?
This is the collapse of the Justice Department. This is a political and incredibly destructive thing to the rule of law.
It's not good for the rule of law. It's not good for morale. And it's not a fair outcome in this case.
Today, we've seen the political corruption of the justice system that Mike Flynn has long been calling for. The Justice Department had nothing to do with this. This was the White House 100%.
The fix is in. This is an absolute injustice.
Did y'all hear that before Tucker finishes this? Did y'all hear the lawyers for the DNC and for those corrupt people in the FBI? Because that's all the media, the liberal media is. They are lawyers. They're PR representatives of those corrupt people. Because they just straight attacked Michael Flynn, Barr, Trump, and totally bunny hopped right over all of the evidence that points towards the fact that the FBI set this man up. But yet, we're to trust that they have our best interests at heart. Whatever happened to the media deciding that we're going to see and make sure that we hold the powerful man in check so they don't take advantage of the little man, huh? We're working on behalf of the people to get the truth out. These folks are working on behalf of corruption. And if they silence me on YouTube, then they doing the same thing. And same thing with Twitter, and same thing with Google, and the same thing with Facebook. If they don't recognize this stuff, if they say people like me and others who got the nerve to call out the liberal media as being complicit and corrupt and helping push this false narrative and these lies and corruption, then they might as well go ahead and jump on the same boat as them too, okay? Now, you heard it from me. Finish us out, Tucker.
So what exactly are these people saying?
What are they saying?
What argument are they really making? Mike Flynn was set up by corrupt law enforcement officials. They suggested their goal was to, quote, get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired.
Right.
That's not speculation.
No,
the FBI wrote that down on paper.
Yeah.
Flynn faced a maximum of 5 years in prison. Are the people you just saw really arguing that Flynn's prosecution was legitimate? Are they arguing he should serve the time behind bars?
I guess they are.
It's enough to make you dizzy.
It is.
Keep in mind, these are supposed to be, quote, liberals. Okay, so whatever happened to their commitment to civil rights, to fairness?
Never was.
In fact, there's nothing liberal about the arguments they are making. This is the most brutal kind of power politics disguised with lies.
It is. It is.
This moment represents the full collapse of an apolitical Justice Department, wrote CNN's legal analyst Susan Hennessy.
Full collapse.
MSNBC's Justice analyst Matthew Miller agreed with that. Quote, Barr is giving Flynn treatment that would not be available to any other American. And just in case you wondered if all these responses were coordinated, because of course they were, the world's angriest former labor secretary, Robert Reich, wrote this, quote, under William Barr's stewardship, the Justice Department has become nothing more than a political tool for Trump to wield against his enemies and withdraw against his friends. This is how dictatorships are built.
Irony. Listen to this. Here's irony.
Pause and consider this. Once again, it is head spinning in its falseness.
That's true.
It's the opposite of what's true. Dropping the case against Michael Flynn means the Justice Department is now a political tool?
Right?
No. Flip it around 180 degrees.
Okay.
The Attorney General dropped the case because the Justice Department was already being used as a political tool to remove the National Security Advisor.
Now, here's the kipper. These people who are arguing against the DOJ's decision today are also found guilty because they were in the same boat accusing Michael Flynn of being a foreign agent, a traitor to his country, and all of those things. And they have to keep face too, because they also were complicit. And that is why they're fighting on behalf of corruption and crooked cops versus an innocent patriot that served his country. And this is how the FBI and the DOJ rewarded this man, by destroying his life. Let's continue. Wrap it up.
The United States, that's the whole point.
Thank you, Tucker.
It's not a debate. No honest person could reach any other conclusions.
Exactly. They're not honest.
Read the documents yourself. But these are not honest people.
Thank you.
These are people who applauded when Adam Schiff of California baselessly denounced his political opponents as Russian agents, including this show. Naturally, Schiff himself weighed in today, too. He couldn't help himself. Yeah, quote, Flynn pled guilty to lying to the FBI about his illicit Russian contacts.
Okay.
His lies do not now become truths. This dismissal does not exonerate him.
No.
Wait, what?
What?
Is Adam Schiff, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, now claiming that a call between the incoming National Security Advisor and the Russian ambassador to the United States is, quote, an illicit Russian contact?
Yeah, exactly.
He is claiming that.
Yeah, he is.
This is insanity.
Right.
And it's calculated insanity.
Sure.
And in the end, hate to tell you, it may work.
Now, you know why Adam Schiff is doing that? Because more information came out also that shows that Adam Schiff knew that there was no such thing as a Russia collusion, information and evidence. He knew that. But he just decided that I'm going to keep lying anyway every time I get on TV. So most likely somebody's going to be knocking on his door too, going, would you like to come with us? We need to have a talk with you. So he's getting out in front of it too, along with Comey and the rest of them. But let's continue.
It is entirely possible your grandchildren will be reading Adam Schiff's version of history 20 years from now. That's why they're saying it. That's the goal. In the meantime, you should consider what it would mean if unscrupulous liars like these were ever to take full control of this country.
Think about it.
They know Michael Flynn is not a dangerous criminal. If he was a dangerous criminal, they'd be working to free him from jail.
That's true. Good point, Tucker.
They wanted Flynn crushed purely because he happened to be in the way of the power they seek.
Now, did you get that, y'all? Understand. Remember, Democrats want people who are guilty and break the law free. And they want people who are honest and will prevent them from their corruption to go to jail. Slow with the liberal media. Anytime the liberal media gets involved and helps the Democrats justify and run interference for Hillary Clinton and all of her corruption, Barack Obama, all of his corruption, James Comey, Clapper, Brennan. Let's bring them on our shows. Let's bring them on our networks, even though we clearly see that they tried to entrap this man. Let's bring corrupt people like Alvanetti on our show and give him a platform. Yeah, let's do that. Let's find the scum of the earth, justify them, but go after people who are innocent and want to fight against corruption, which puts them in the category as corruption, okay, as the corrupt, the fake, phony news, which is the enemy of the people and this country. They should be prosecuted along with darn Comey and the rest of them. Let's continue.
And that's why they're still trying to put Roger Stone behind bars, because he mocked them to their faces, and that diminished their authority. Roger Stone may still go to prison, by the way. We'll keep you posted. But the question is, how many other inconvenient Americans would they bankrupt and imprison if they could?
Good point.
Let's hope we never find out.
Yeah, we don't want to find out.
In the meantime, you should ignore their yelping. Turn it off. This is an offense against equal justice, they scream into the camera. Right. The very same people who demand day after day that we hold American citizens to completely different standards based on how they look. Now they're telling you justice must be blind. It's absurd. It's insulting.
Yes, it is.
The essence of fairness in every country at every time is fairness.
Y'all hear that?
Fairness. What the federal government did to Mike Flynn was demonstrably and provably unfair.
Thank you.
And anyone who refuses to admit that in the face of overwhelming evidence should not wield power.
That is true. Tucker, I couldn't have said it better myself. Y'all hear that? Tucker laid it down, and I had to go ahead and co-host this segment with Tucker and weigh in on that as well. So now, all this information is starting to roll out, and heads are about to start rolling. And that is why the media is going into a frenzy. Understand, when you go ahead and poke that beehive, that's when the bees come out and start going crazy. When they start getting rattled and buzzing and making all that noise, what's happening, they feel as we're under attack. And we see the signs, the writing on the wall. And Barr is a darn hero. A hero. And I hope he continue down this path and get it done before these crooks try to sweep it all up under the rug. Barr's a hero, and Barack Obama, yeah, he either was dumb and incompetent. What? I had no idea this was going on right up under my nose. That makes me completely incompetent. Or he was corrupt. You choose. Anyway, God bless. Frankly, I happen to think it's a combination of both. Now, don't forget, check me out every Wednesday night live in Kevin's Corner on Facebook, YouTube, my radio blog talk show. YouTube's playing games with the suppression and all that crazy stuff, the demonetization and all that gibberish. So make sure you're still subscribed. Make sure your notifications are set to all. And if you want to donate to Kevin and Kevin's Corner, feel free. There's a link below this video to do that. And check out Extreme Tees, my sponsor. If you like something, put Kevin in the promo code. You'll get a 20% discount. And we will see y'all next time again on Kevin and Kevin's Corner. God bless.